Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to DRS F1 Season 15. This time it's round 5, and it is live from a wet Circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia, here in Spain. Now, let's see who's going to be the first to brave the conditions here. I can hear someone's engine starting in the background there. Let me do some. Looks like. Looks like Kessler's the first one to brave it. I was looking at the little marker at the bottom corner there and I couldn't tell if it was a I don't know if it's me suddenly going colourblind or if it's the colour of the Aston Martin. It didn't look green for a second. I thought it was an LP and I'm like, why can't I see who it is? Well, there we go. Right. Oh, that's the wrong one. There we go. So we've got our you can see Kessler making some weaving. I don't think weaving's going to help you in the wet conditions here. It looks like this wet condition is going to be with us to stay, unlike a few weeks ago. Was it Monza? We had an intermediate start to the session and ended up getting to the point where dries were the best tyre in the last 30 seconds or so. Okay. So, just while the session is starting, let's give a little background information what we saw last week at Spa-Francorchamps. If you weren't with us, Jack Daniels took the win in a race where it looked like no one could touch him. Literally, I think there was before his gaps were interrupted by safety cars. I believe he was having gaps of. I think he had like a 3-second gap in like 2 laps of the race starting. Joining them on the podium last week was DRS Syme and Mr. Pickle, who everyone was cheering for. Now we're following Kessler here as he comes into the final couple of corners here. And this is the Eurocar first of the right-handers, and then you got the take it New Holland going off my track map onto the start finish straight as he goes with a 30.8 to set us off here. Let's take a look who do we have on the lap. We'll look at Senna here. Could do with a good week here because he's had two very unfortunate results in the last couple rounds. Again, if you didn't join us last week, Senna unfortunately got involved with an incident with Frosty. As we see, is a yellow flag sector 1. It might be a Mercedes going off there. Dan Morris now the fastest driver of the session. But yeah, Senna caught up in an unfortunate incident with Frosty last week. I'll give you an update on the stewards' decision for that, because I said it. Oh, it might go to the stewards. Where is it? That's not it. There we go. It was a 30-second time penalty to Frosty with a penalty point to his license. Just, it seems like from my understanding with the rule description we've had is the league uses the red proximity arrows to determine whether a car is alongside, unlike the very controversial what's it called in real life F1. Anyway, it's kind of coming into the final sector here. Oh, excuse me. Lakaisa, I think that's how you say it. Lakaisa, I don't know. I'm gonna say Lakaisa. As he drifts his way through Bank Sabadell into Europe car. I noticed as well, Jack Downs has already got us into the 28.5s. Where will Senna put us 28.511. So you can see the pace is slowly dropping as Jack Downs now into the 27s or 27.8. What a pace these boys are setting here. Now, just taking a look through the field here. I've noticed we've got KD Races with us for the first time. I'm not sure if it's the first time this season or if it's the first time for a few rounds. We've also got Terry's Reds returning to us after the what's it called? Reserve role at can't think of the track now, Monza. And I take it in 18th there, the Aston Martin of V Swanton Bomb. I take that's DRS Swanton under a different name, or has changed his name since the last round. Anyway, so we'll do all the championship results review in between qualifying and the race. Senna now boxes. Jack Downs continuing to lap, right on the edge of the track limiter as he drops it to a 27.7 now. The Alpine driver setting the early pace here. And the great thing about the wet tyres is you don't need to worry too much about a grip drop off. As soon as I said it looked like Dan Morris is drifting around turn 3 there. And he's drifting again through Repsol, aka turn 4. There's a McLaren going slowly through the final sector. I think that's just to get away with people. There's Jack Daniels still pushing. Let's get the lap data up as he comes towards that. Oh, never mind, he's blocked. He's backed off. Is Dan Morris in the way, or is it just a bit of playful banter between the pair of them? And there's a few drivers choosing to use they've selected intermediates now. Michael, the only one who seems to have set a lap using them. Let's take a look through. Senna going back out on wets again. Let me open up Twitch chat for a moment because I feel like I've neglected you guys for a little bit. Let's see what Senna can do here. And as he comes back out for his second run, I can hear myself twice because my phone is repeating the audio back to me. It's good to know I can hear myself. That's a good thing, I guess. As Jack Daniels pushing that lap time even further. Dan Morris as well into the 27s with the 27.794. So the pace is dropping through the field. I noticed a few drivers now dropping into the 29s. It seems the sub 130 lap is definitely achievable for all the drivers here. In the 18-minute qualifying session we've had, we're down to the last 7 minutes or so. Senna into the final sector now, going through Lakaisa, and it's all right-handers from here on. You can see the rear drifting a bit as he comes through the final couple corners. I haven't really been looking at his lap data. Oh, flirting with the track limits there. And Senna is a 27.530. Just about a tenth slower than Jack Daniels there. And there's a bit of congestion through the final sector that I can see. It seems I was going to say Evans. Slowly seeing the intermediates out, seeing how they fare. Michael now, I would say up to fourth, but he's been immediately dropped by his teammate. Frosty up to fourth. You can just see them in the background there. Oh. Now let's see. Dan Morris is on the Madison Ferrari. I was looking at the wrong garage for a second. I believe that'll be Coleman, maybe? No? Mr. Pickle then. Going for another run. Put the spotlight on to KD Races here for a moment. As we now into the final 5 minutes of qualifying here. Are we going to see the top two there make an intermediate run before the end of the session? The other thing we're going to see, are we going to see DRS Simon Swanson on circuit before the end of the session? Ooh, a bit of a moment for KD as he pulls into the pit lane. Careful! Oh, and he's hit the wall. Oh, it's very unlucky for the Williams driver there. Now he's got to be careful, whoever that is, who's coming around the final corner. Ooh, that's... I mean, you see the wheels just deciding to carry on without its owner. That's one of the very unique things about Barcelona for some reason. It resets you to the track if you hit the pit wall. And then you get things like that will happen with Kessler, just right there. Coleman, who's trying a lap on the intermediate. Yep, the top two now on the intermediate tyres as well. Now Syme, notice there, Syme has still not made an attempt at a lap, which he's slowly running out of time. We're coming up to 3 minutes to go. Oh, never mind, his thing has now changed to an out lap. And Smug get now to the top of the table, 1:27.1. The intermediates looking like the faster tyre as I look through the field. Everyone now on the intermediates. There's the yellow flag sector 2. Is that Senna possibly getting out of someone's way? We'll keep rowing on board with Coleman for a moment. Another yellow flag just behind him there. He's set the purple middle sector, so expect a decent lap from the Ferrari driver here. Being brave with the curbs despite the wet conditions. You can see the dry line is forming. Kessler now drops us to a 26.3 with provisional pole position. Where's Coleman going to jump? Coleman with a 26.1 now up to pole position as we are approaching 2 minutes to go. I notice Jack Daniels has still not exited the pit lane. He's playing a risky game here. We're going to have 2 minutes to go, and if that Alpine team do not release him anytime soon, he might not get another lap in. Senna now starting what will either be his final or the penultimate attempt at a lap here. And it doesn't look like the Alpine team are moving. I think that's the last we're going to see of Jack Daniels in this session. Senna now sets a purple sector 1. We're going to move to the external view here. And yeah, I think that we've run out of time for Jack Daniels there from the looks of things. As the Mercedes gets out of Senna's way as he comes through the middle of sector 2. It's looking like a very good lap for last year's overall champion. Into the final sector now, it's going to be purple again, 1.6 quicker according to our little tracker at the top left there. Now, you can see Jack Daniels is making an out lap, but I don't think he's going to have time to get another lap in. I think he's misjudged how much time he needs. And Senna now to the top of the times. 1:24.8, 1:7. That is over a second quicker than Dan Morris's previous provisional pole time. Now let's look through the field because we're going to see a few drivers setting their final laps in now. Smug get towards the line. I think this will be his final lap starting right now from the looks of things. Now, where is Jack Daniels? I think Jack Daniels just snuck in. Yeah, Jack Daniels has just managed to sneak in and get a lap before the timer finished. I'll tell you what that is. That's what you call time to... Oh, he has a moment through turn 3 there. See, Smug gets left the session. No idea what's happened. Oh, that... I'm hoping Jack Daniels is keeping his foot in it because this will be the difference between, you know, it could be a 5th, top 5, or it could be, I don't know, could be, you know, 15th or something. There's an Aston Martin off the circuit there. Oh, there's another moment onto the straight there. Still 1.3 faster, but I don't think that's going to be faster than what Senna set a moment ago. Not with all these little moments halfway through the lap here. As he comes through the final 2 corners now. Where's Jack Daniels going to stick himself? He's through the final corner. I don't believe he's set pole position with a lap like that. That is. Where's Swanson? Swanson's coming into the pits. That is an unbelievable lap from Jack Daniels. You guys saw the amount of moments he had, and he still manages to put at least half a tenth into Senna's already fastest lap time. And there you go. At the end of a slightly damp qualifying session, Jack Daniels on pole position by 600ths of a second from Senna. Daniel Morris third, Lord Coleman fourth, Terry Reds fifth, Frosty, Sloth, Kessler, Smug Git and Swanson the top 10. Pickle, Finley, Sainsy, Syme, Michael, 50 Gent, Easy Life and KD Races finish off the field there. Just while the drivers have a moment to sort their race strategies out, I'm just going to take a quick 2-minute break, and then I'll give you the kind of the championship rundown and the little pre-race preview, I guess. So I'll be back in 2 minutes. Okay, and we are back. So I'll just give you guys the quick championship rundown, as I do every week. And hopefully by the time I finish, we will be ready for the formation lap. So I'll give you the top 10 of overall, and then top 5 of every split. So Jack Daniels is currently on top of the overall by 40 points from Senna and Finley, who are tied for second. Frosty in fourth, 60 behind Jack Daniels. And we got Pickle, Syme, Smug Git, Coleman, Sloth and 50 Gent finishing for the rest of the top 10. Constructors, I'll give you all that one for why not. Alpine are on top by 6 points. Ferrari in third behind, 7 points behind the leaders. Haas and McLaren tied for fourth. Sauber not too far behind in sixth. There's a bit of a gap to Racing Bulls, Aston Martin, Red Bull and Williams. And then finally, oh, the last two, Extreme and Pro, 4 points separating Jack Daniels, who takes the lead of that combined split championship. There's a bit of a gap, 29 to between Jack Daniels and Frosty. Smugget in 4th, Senna in 5th. And then finally, last but not least, Pro Am and Amateur. 21 points separate Lord Coleman and Sloth. 50 Gen in 3rd. Michael in 4th. Easy Light 5th. Sainsy 6th. El Newt 7th. Kessler 8th. King Kong 9th. Project Tide 10th. I got a little bit distracted then, read the whole thing out. Anyway, formation lap is now underway. Just to remind you guys, it is a 50% race tonight. Which, we get the things up. We will have 33 laps of the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. Now, let me get a little tyre thing up. Okay. Seems to be the majority of the field on medium tyres. The exceptions, Jack Daniels, Sainsy and Easy Life on the hards. Castle and Smugget choosing the softs in the midfield there. There's an easier setup here for me. I guess. And just to give you guys a bit of an update, I guess. I never usually talk about this stuff. We got the lap record for this circuit of 1:12.373. I shall keep that in mind in case we see that lap record broken. Okay, so we are coming back to the grid. We have a bit of a wait as we see the likes of, as we see KD Races and Easy Life at the back there, just coming round the final sector. Okay, here we go. Everyone's lined up. There we go. You can kind of see the lights in the back, just behind the leaderboard. They're out and we're away for the Spanish Grand Prix. And it looks like Jack Daniels got an amazing start again. Senna's been swallowed up a bit as he looks to the inside. Up the inside of Terry. And is that Senna in the gravel? Oh, it's Senna in the gravel at turn 2. Oh, I could just see someone going a bit wide, but I didn't see who it was. It was Senna who's gone wide there. Anyway, back to the front of the field, we can see Jack Daniels and Daniel Morris. Seemingly, Daniel Morris is trying to stick with Jack Daniels. It's something that people have struggled with so far this season. The only person who I think has managed to take a fight to Jack Daniels has been Senna, as they go a little bit wider with the curves in the background there. Someone really wide over into the gravel almost, or into the older layout. The yellow flag, I think that might be Swanson, who's probably just slowed down to rejoin without causing issues for fellow drivers. Now it's going to be interesting here. How quickly can these guys on the mediums take advantage of Jack Daniels on his hard tyres? As we've just finished the first lap. And Dan Morris up the inside into turn 1 to take the lead of this race. Swanson into the pits. I take it that'll be to repair some wing damage. And yep, wing damage there for Swanson. That's going to be interesting there. It looks like Jack Daniels is not getting what he expected out of these hard tyres from the start. And let me just move back to the league chat real quick. And now this time down the start-finish straight, we're going to see some DRS action. So, hopefully, there we go. Passing the boards right there. Dan Morris with the fastest lap of the race of 16.2. You can see a bit of a DRS train through the field. Down, looks like it's going to be down to about Sainsy in 13th. So we're talking 12 drivers in one massive queue there. That is for a DRS train at its finest right there. I'm going to keep an eye. Oh, as Coleman kind of fakes on Jack Daniels there. Is the Ferrari going to have an opportunity? And there's DRS straight coming up. He might as well. He might have a chance as well. Jack Daniels will lose the DRS of Dan Morris right now. As we saw, he was over a second as they passed through the detection point. Excuse me. I was trying to keep an eye on Senna's gap to the rest of the field. He's currently about 3 seconds behind. So he's gained a bit of time. Now, well, let's see what the Ferrari's going to do here. He's almost mirror signal manoeuvres his way past Jack Daniels there into turn 1. Senna now sets the fastest lap of the race of 15.978. It's clear that Senna he definitely had the pace to win this race, but obviously the circumstances what happened at turn 1, it might just affect his chance. I think he'll do well to get a top 5, but I don't know if we're going to see much more. It depends if he looks out with a safety car or not. The problem with these 50% races, the safety cars that could save you don't usually come. As someone really wide in the back, and also was Kessler there in the Aston Martin. And as if it was just too fast or just not enough grip to get through the corner. Finley and Kessler dropping a few spots there. What's just happened to the Mercedes there? He's missing an end plate on his front wing. Was there contact? Kessler also into the pits. Finley runs a bit wide but manages to keep going. Well, that has just given Senna 2 free positions. And look at the gap. He's about 2 seconds behind Easy Life now. A few moments ago he was about 3 seconds, so he's gained a second from somewhere. Meanwhile at the front, this is a sight we've not seen this season. Jack Daniels. First of all, he's not in the lead, but secondly, he's about 3 seconds away from it. He's not keeping pace with Coleman and Dan Morris. And I can see the red light flashing on the back there, so he's clearly recharging the battery. But I don't know. This is very strange. As you see, he gets very close to the track limits there. I'm gonna see him. Oh, yeah, we're gonna see the move from Terry's Reds there in the pink racing balls. And now Terry's up to 3rd. it seems the hards have just not got going for Jax Daniels. Now, if you guys remember a few moments ago, I did say, let me get the championship standings up just to make sure I'm not making an ass of myself. There's a 40-point gap between Jax Daniels and between Jax Daniels, Senna, and Finley. Now, looking at where the other two are, maybe Jax Daniels is thinking, you know, these are the races where if you make mistakes. Oh, as we see a yellow flag, it looks like Smug Gits had an incident. He's using the old... Oh, he has a bit of a slide there. Looks to be a-okay. Coming to the pits anyway. Seems like the soft tyres are no longer playing ball. What I was going to say is he's basically on the old rallycross layout. Now it seems Jax Daniels, just looking now, he seems he's sticking with Terry maybe. But the point I was trying to make was, you know, Jax Daniels. This is with his gap in the championship. Definitely, you know, it's one of those races. You can't win it on a race like this, but it's one you can definitely lose it on, if you know what I mean. If you make a mistake, if you have a DNF for any reason, you know, it's easy points. And especially now, we see Senna up to 12. He's already picked off 2 drivers, it looks like, in Easy Life and Mr. Pickle. Now, it would be interesting to look into Senna's stream after the race to see what went wrong at turn 2 for him, because I know we weren't following him, but was it a bit of contact and he just ended up going wide, or I don't know. Anyway, back to the present. Let's take a look. Excuse me. KD races all the way up from the back of the field up to 6th. I think Frosty had a bit of a moment. Yeah, KD races, if you remember, they were back of the grid there. Let's get up. That's the wrong one. That's also the wrong one. Where's position change? There we go. Plus 12. That is a good drive so far on their return. Now, I don't believe we've seen KD all season. Looking at the championship standings, I don't believe we have. Now this is interesting here. It seems in the while we've been looking away there, the gap not only to the lead for Coleman and Morris. Basically, the gap between the whole top 4 has just shrunk. No. Maybe we're starting to see the mediums starting to drop off. You know, from my own personal experience, in these 50% races, tyres don't last long. You almost have to, if you see Dan Morris into the pit lane, out the lead. However, I can see Jax Daniels, he's trying to have a look on Terry, he's through. probably made it a bit more difficult with the fact that both of them had DRS. And we see someone making a move. They're 3 wide, it looked like, between Sloth, Syme and Frosty. Frosty seems to be the one who's lost dead the most there. Back to the front for a moment. Now, is this going to be another case of Jack Daniels magic? You know, we've seen it a couple times this season already. I think, what was it, the round at Silverstone, where I thought you wouldn't get a podium out of it, and he ended up doing so. Unless I was thinking of someone else. I don't know. Anyway, you can see Jack Daniels back to the lead of this race for the first time in a couple laps. I think those hards are starting to finally get their advantage back. Let's take a little look through the field there. There's a yellow flag, sector 2. This looks like it's Frosty. Not sure what's happened to the Sauber driver. Probably a little bit of a moment through turn 3 if I had to guess. We just saw the yellow flag and saw nothing else. We'll look at Senna while we're down this end of the field. Already back up to 9th place. And he's within a field where taking a pit stop, he's not going to be in a bad spot. As you see a few more pitting at the front end, Simon Sloth. And Frosty 2. And Dan Morris now sets the fastest lap of the race at 15.866. It seems we've reached this phase of the race, and we can see 50 Gent letting Senna through on the short straight between 3 and 4. And then down the hill into this kind of little left-right chicaney bit. Then you go back up. Now we'll flatten out a little bit here on this other DRS straight. Let's take a little bit look at the top there. You can see Jack Daniels is now 1.5 seconds almost in the front. Now that is a bit of a good comeback so far, given how the start went. See a couple more choosing to make a pit stop with Michael and Mr. Pickle. I'm surprised we've not seen Kessler back in. He's been running them softs for 7 laps, and we saw how much Smug Git was struggling after about the same range. And now, let's see what's happening behind. Coleman now choosing to pit as well. And now Senna up to 5th place because of that. Chasing down Sainsy. Are we going to get moving to turn 1? Yes, we will. Sainsy giving it. Oh, there's a bit of contact there. A bit of a rub as well. They're still side by side through turn 3. Sainsy right out wide. But Senna's getting the position. And just as I said it, Kessler's now into the pits as well. Gets a 10-second speeding penalty. And he's retired from the session while in the pit lane there. Let's move back up the front here. Let's look at what I'm going to do in a moment when we're able to. Let me get a gap to the leader. 13 seconds now separating Jax Daniels and Senna. Senna now into the pits. No, it's the wrong way. There, tyres. Just see the, for whatever reason, AI-driven retired car of Kessler choosing to retire on the exit of turn 3 there. No idea what the game does it that way, but so now Jax Daniels is going to have a 2.5 second lead as we come up towards the halfway point of this race. I think we're going to be past halfway at the end of the next lap. Terry now into the pits as well. We're going to expect, no, KD staying out. Look down the field a bit there. We look at Dan Morris here, back up to 4th after the pit stops. So I need to look through the field. Who is still on their starting tyres? I think Easy Life, Sainsy, KD and Jax Daniels are still the only few drivers still on their starting tyres. Dan Morris setting another purple sector 1. You can just see on the track map down in the bottom right hand corner of your screen. Finley back into the pits, this time onto hard tyres. Let's take a bit of a look up the front here. Jax Daniels 7.7 clear now, and it's still increasing his KD pits. And this will be kind of the point where this is why Jax Daniels would have chosen the hard tyres. He knows the mediums would have had to stop a bit sooner, but even the pace he had before the pit stops, that's another reason why he did it. See Easy Life now into the pits as well. Only 2 drivers left on their starting tyres. I forgot to mention we have passed that halfway point. Or I don't, I can't remember. Anyway, let's change the gaps back to interval. And look at that. I know we were still waiting on the Jax Daniels pit stop, but the gap is still going up, despite there being 9 laps difference in tyres. Let's take a look at fastest lap there. You can see that Daniel Morris has the fastest lap of the race. The only one to set a lap near him looks like Senna and Terry's Reds. Coleman 2, Swanton back into the pits. Actually, you can see the gap. It goes up and down depending on where we are in the circuit, so that could just be a bit of an indication of the newer grip on Dan Morris. Let's see what the leader does. When's he going to choose to pit? He's not going this time. In the meantime, let's look through the field here. We'll take a look at Terry's Reds and Lord Coleman. They're going to be battling for 4th in a minute. Half a second between them as they come through the final sector here. And Terry will have slightly newer tyres as Sainsy into the pits as well from, I think it's 3rd place. And we see Terry through into turn 1. Mirror signal manoeuvre and starting to make a bit of clear air between him and the Ferrari. And a purple sector to go with it as well. So we need to keep an eye on that gap between Jack Daniels and Dan Morris. I'm not 100% sure of the pit, what's it called? Pit time loss. That's the one. Pit delta, that's it. I'm not sure what the time is round here, but I can guarantee it's probably more than 13 seconds. There's a yellow flag, sector 2, there's a McLaren gone off, I think it was Smug Git. Now Terry's Reds with a 15.206, fastest lap of the race. Let me just take a look at that graphic with the previous best lap times. KD races our first time penalty of the race. That's not what we're looking for. Okay, we're still nowhere near lap record. Looks like this. Let's get back into the pits now. And your leader, Jack Daniels, doing another lap of the circuit. That gap is slowly going down, so he's probably going to need to be mindful of that. And the fact that he'll only have about 13 laps to go, maybe 12, by the time he does come into the pits. On the other hand though, looking at the tyre difference, Dan Morris is on 11 lap all tyres now. We'll say from the to the end, we could be talking 25 lap all tyres. Oh, was a yellow flag, sector 1, Frosty. Again, it looked like. Frosty having all sorts of issues here, it looks like. Take a bit of a sweep through the field here just to see how everyone's getting on. And now Jack Daniels into the pits. Where is Dan Morris? He's come around the final corner there. So we're going to have Dan Morris back into the lead. But now we've got to bear in mind, Jack Daniels is going to have fresh mediums to the end of this race. And he's just going to come out ahead of DRS Simon, looks like. This will be interesting now. We're going to have 12 laps to go, I think. Maybe 11 at the end of this one. And it's... oh, it's going to be very touch and go. Now it looks like Jack Daniels is going to have to make at least 10 seconds back up. Smugget now the fastest lap holder with a 15.007. Call that man Mr. Bond. And Dan Morris back into the pits now. That's an interesting call. A very interesting call. Surely with a lead like that, you'd have tried to protect it by staying out. Onto a new set of hards, which makes this decision a little bit more baffling, but I'm going to say let it cook, I guess. No, we'll see how it goes. Let's take a look at Jack Daniels here as he comes through the middle sector. He's already put time, he's already gained time on DRS Sim. I haven't really looked at his gap to Lord Coleman yet, but I take it that'd be decreasing as well. Absolutely. Oh, he has a bit of a spin. I was going to say he's taking the risk, hugging the curb there, but whoa, that was very much a brown pants moment right there for Jack Daniels. I bet he would have been on a fastest lap attempt or something there. If not intentionally, there's definitely an element of let's put some time in, let's go get this race win. We probably lost about 2-3 seconds just doing that, so... well, in all that, the new race leader, Terry's Reds, obviously we saw them a couple of weeks ago get a good result at the Monza round. Let me just remind myself where they finished. They were 9th. No, that's no man, that's qualifying times. My bad. Terry was 4th. I had to fix that quick because I always manage to catch it, but this time I don't. Oh well. Anyway, Jack Daniels, that time he lost is just disappeared almost immediately, it looks like. That is what fresh tyres and yeah, that's what fresh tyres and obviously a little bit less fuel since we started. Obviously that's going to have an effect on how much, if you're good with low fuel, that is going to help you. I don't know, I'm just waffling now. I mean, the commentator's job is to waffle anyway, but you know, I'm pure waffle at this point. Good, you guys love it because I always get some very good feedback after the races. Anyway, Jack Daniels now creeping under the 2 second mark behind Lord Coleman. Let's look at the gaps out of my head. It's going to be about 4.5 seconds ish. Maybe drifting closer to 5 between Jack Daniels and Terry. If the Alpine driver can use these mediums effectively, I wouldn't rule out Jack Daniels working his way back to the lead. One must wonder, it's a bit of a what could have been for Daniel Morris there in 9th. Like I just think Frosty's taken a 1:14. I didn't see the decimals at the end, but I can see we're into the 1:14s for fastest laps now. As I mentioned, the low fuel and his soft tyres. This is almost like setting qualifying times for him. We can see that Jack Daniels on the back of Lord Coleman now as a yellow flag sector 2. Is a Frosty gone around, I think, again? It's not been the ideal season for last year's championship runner-up as Jack Daniels gets back through for 2nd place. Do I have the... maybe I don't then. Oh no, what's this? Never mind. Thought I had a copy of last season's championship standings. So now, the mission for Jack Daniels is going to be hunting down the Racing Bull in the lead. There'll be 6 laps of tyre life between them. You can see how much Jack Daniels is pushing. We'll go on board with the Alpine here for a moment. You can just see how committed he is through this final sector. Not got much battery there, as he, at least what we can see on the thingy there. Frosty looks like has had another spin. Or another issue. Let's move down the field for a second. You can see Mr. Pickle defend. Oh, never mind. Michael goes even further to the inside. You can see Senna in the background there. He's going to take the scraps of this battle if he wants to. As Pickle... oh, as Michael goes around, he ghosts. Senna has to go a little bit wider to avoid it, but everyone's safely through from the looks of things. I bet that was another heart in the mouth moment for Senna. Another very, very scary moment. And after last week's race, that's probably the last thing he wanted to see. So now, we'll take a look at this lead battle once again. It's only a couple tenths less from the look of things. Oh, it's gonna be very, very much a tough ask. We're gonna have about 5 laps to go. I mean, if anyone can do it, it's the championship leader, but he's going to need to be gaining a little bit more time than this if he wants to have a chance. Well, we'll take a little bit of a break from that to take a look at this group here. KD, Sloth and Dan Morris. Smugit also back into the pits, it looks like. Take a quick look up. The lead, the gap to the lead is now under 2 seconds. I wonder if Jack Daniels has me on like a little earpiece in his ear, that he's using it as motivation to try and push himself. If any driver's thinking of that idea, probably not. I feel like I'd be more of a distraction than motivation. As Dan Morris is through on Sloth in the background there. Oop, that's my thing not working. For a reason that doesn't work. I'll take a little sweep through the field here. Let's have a look who's having a good race. Well, looks like Finley hasn't been able to recover from the incident early in the race. Stuck in 14th place at the moment. Frosty had a couple spins from the looks of things. It's just not been that day. Easy Life having a decent run in 13th there. 50 gents, not running too bad in 12th. Michael 11th. Let's take a look here. Dan Morris, he's going to be attacking KD Races here with the DRS. And they're slowly getting closer to DRS Simon as well. So we might see Dan Morris in 4th by the end of this race. He's going to have 3 laps to do it, or we'll call it 2.75 laps to do it, shall I say, from this point. Let's go back to the lead for a moment. You can see there's a lapped car just behind there, that'll be Smugit. But interestingly, look at the gap to the lead, 1.0. If he gets the extra couple hundredths or tenths he needs, he could have DRS down that main straight. Probably not close enough to pass, but it'll put him in a prime position to do it in the next 2 laps, as we now have 2 laps to go here in Barcelona. You can see Jack Daniels getting the DRS. Smugit trying to unlap himself. Probably not what Jack Daniels wants to be seen in front of him. You know, as much as it'll be a helping hand in case, you know, Terry gets a bit too far away for DRS. It also can backfire if, you know, you see that Smugit trying to unlap himself. If Smugit gets himself ahead before the detection point, which he's not going to, but if in theory that happened, Terry's got DRS, it makes Jack Daniels' life even harder. And Jack Daniels, he's only really going to have one or two opportunities to try and take the win here. Looks like he's had the better exit. And now here we go to start the final lap. Smugit getting the blue flags as well. And here he comes, Jack Daniels with the DRS. He's kind of using a bit of a double DRS using Smugit. As Smugit goes a little bit wider, probably to clear the blue flag indicator. But Jack Daniels is through into the lead of this race at probably his last real opportunity, because yes, there's that DRS straight going into sector 3. It needs to be a very precise move if you're going to do it. That was probably his last real opportunity of this race. And now he just needs to hit his marks for the final half of this lap. Very unlucky for Terry, who had led a couple laps there. But it's going to be a good result anyway for them if they come home second. And now Jack Daniels, the final few corners for the championship leader to extend his advantage. probably going to be talking well over 50 points, looking at where Senna and Central Finley are in this field. And Jack Daniels rounds the final corner. And he's going to take the Spanish Grand Prix ahead of Terry's red. It says there's a yellow flag there. That could be for smoke gets. Lapped car. So Senna gets a 3-second time penalty on the final lap here. And he's going to lose 7th to Sloth from the looks of things. Yes, he will. You can see Pickle. Oh, they're side by side. It looked like. I can't see it. Was it Sainsy and Michael? It looks like only 200ths of a second separating them at the line. Here comes Finley across the line, and Easy Life and Swanson are the last runners to finish there. Oh. Oh. There you go, you can see the podium now. We'll skip it for a moment to give ourselves time to read through the results here. So at the end of 33 laps, Jack Daniels, the championship leader, extends his advantage with another win here at the Barcelona Catalunya circuit. Terry's Red comes home second to take their first podium, I believe. Lord Coleman third, a good return to the podium for the Ferrari driver there. Dan Morris and Syme finishing the top 5. Sloth KD races on their return, comes home 7th after a start in 18th. Senna, Michael and Sainsy and the rest of the top 10 in the points. Pickle, 50 Gen, Central Finley, Easy Life, Swanson, Smoke Git and Frosty are the last of the finishers, or the rest of the finishers, with Kessler retiring mid-race in the pit lane. Oh, I'm not sure if we still do the Driver of the Day award. If we still offer it, I think I've got to put KD forward. To come from 18th, it was a bit of an unlucky qualifying for him, crashing into the pit wall. But to come back to 7th in the race there, a very good performance. In the first race I think they've done in a few, well, since the end of last season I think, really. So, let me just make sure where we are going next week. We are going to Zandvoort. 100% round. Hopefully you can join us, whether you've been following this week or you know, watching this back in the next couple of days. February 10th, 8 PM. I say 8 PM. I was 8:02 today. My bad. Slap on the wrist right there. Anyway, so next week, Zandvoort, February 10th, 100% round, so it'll be the one-shot qualifying and a long endurance style race. Hopefully you can join us. Thank you to everyone who's been watching. I can see there's 3 people at the moment, I think. Might be including myself because I do have the Twitch open to keep an eye on chat. Yeah, thank you for watching, whether you've been here starting today or whether you've been following for a long time. Anyway, hopefully you'll see you all next week, same place, same time. Hopefully I can be on a little bit earlier so I can not rush the introduction. And yeah, so thank you all for watching, and we'll see you all next week in Zandvoort. Good night everyone.